Well, hello, beautiful people. How we doing today? We are back at it once again into the book Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn. And we are into chapter 6. And this is actually getting into the end of chapter 6, moving into chapter 7. And we are on part 33. And this has been amazing. So I hope you guys are feeling the love, because that episode was all about, last episode was all about feeling love and appreciation. And did you guys practice? Comment down below if you did. So let's go ahead and get into the next part here. Let me just go ahead and set up, and then we will get going. Here we go.
On downest days.
Downest days.
As long as we live in these bodies, down days are going to happen.
Yep.
On those days when nothing is going right and you could care less anyhow, just remember that a rotten day is nothing more than a closed valve. You're having a negative energy orgy. It's not a big deal. Go on and have it. Give yourself permission to experience the whole bloody downer so that no negative feelings get stuffed. But if you really do want out of the vibrational gloomies, then one way to do it is to let your eyes fall on the smallest, most insignificant thing you can find. Jumpstart with your physical smile. Reach down to your gentle inner smile and love that little no thing in any way you can. Maybe it's just a speck of dust, or a magazine, or a wire cord. Flood appreciation to it for just being. Wrap it in love as if it were the most revered treasure of your life, which had been long lost and now is found. You'll be amazed at how easily your vibrations will change. That fairly unstrenuous approach usually works for me, but if it doesn't, I resort to my never-fail technique where I start dancing around the house, singing some silly up song like, "Happy days are here again," when I'd rather be screaming at my poor dogs. Or, "Oh, what a beautiful morning," when I'd rather be collapsed on the chair in tears. Or some goofy little ditty I make up as I force myself to move around. I use this ploy when I'm completely down in the pits, but no longer willing to stay there. However, when I'm this down, it generally takes a few hours for much of anything to work. So that wild dancing becomes a real starter. It literally cracks open the stuck energy to where I can eventually click back into feel much better. Then, within hours, the phone starts ringing, business picks up, friends invite me over, and ideas start to gurgle again. It's always worked. The point is, do anything you can think of to help you feel better. Also, when you're clearly down, tender talking to yourself reassuringly by name works wonders. It's going to be okay, Corky. I promise. Everything's going to be all right. You're going to be fine. Just talk about anything that's soothing until you feel better. One small, gentle step at a time when you're really down. A little here, a little there. It may take a couple of hours or a couple of days, but eventually you'll feel your resistance lessening and that wonderful click back into open valve connectedness. Turn on, turn on, turn on. No matter where you are, you can always turn on with some kind of warm feeling if you really want to. Turn on as you look out the kitchen window. Turn on as you walk out the door in the morning. Turn on as you slide into your wheelchair. Turn on as you board the subway. Turn on as you sweep the porch. Turn on as you make copies. Turn on as you walk down the fairway. Turn on as you feed the stock. Until you can find that buzz of joy or buzz of appreciation or being in love or gratitude, even when common sense says you haven't a thing to be grateful for, you're not flowing your energy to anywhere you want to go. But if your desire is to blast out into a new life for yourself, then learn to turn on any way you can, no matter what's happening around you, no matter what. If you want to change something, if you want to improve where you are, if you want that magnificent feeling of fulfillment, or to feel a depth of happiness not normally known to you, if you want to have whatever it is you don't have now, then learn to get your motor running and turn on.
Nice. All right, here we go into chapter 7.
Chapter 7. The Force is with you.
Star
Step
Wars.
4.
Star Wars.
A few decades ago, when I was much newer to life and very new to California, I drive day after day from the San Fernando Valley over beautiful Coldwater Canyon into Beverly Hills, where I had a funky job in the corporate office of a major aerospace company. I adored the drive, but not the job. However, it wasn't the right time in my life to be rocking boats, since most of my energy was going into working my new Alcoholics Anonymous program, and I was loving every moment of it. For 2 years, I drove the canyon, searched for things to do on my job, and had a blast getting sober in Los Angeles. Then I got bored. One beautiful afternoon, as I was enjoying the drive back to the valley, past the gorgeous homes of Beverly Hills, I said out loud to the power I thought then was only outside of me, "Okay, higher power, let's see how well you operate. I'm bored at work and want to do something else. Give me an idea. In fact, if you'll just give me the seeds, I'll plant them." Without realizing it, I was in that perfect feeling place where my frequency was higher than a kite, loving my drive, enjoying the scenery, feeling at peace with the world, yet a little feisty with this being my AA friends and I called higher power. Sort of like, "All right, Buster, either put up or shut up." But the statement was sincere and shot out into the ethers, powerfully magnetized with high vibrations of impish feel-good. The next day on my way to work, I went through the same routine. Just give me the seeds and I'll plant them. And again, coming home, I didn't know squat about vibrations or flowing energy then. And sadly, I didn't know a thing about my own power or that the power out there and I were one and the same. As far as I was concerned, the head honcho was separate from me. That wise force of good, I was quite sure was running my life. All I was doing was powerfully, though unknowingly, focusing on a want and testing my higher power to see if it was really there to lend a helping hand. Then one wondrous homeward bound day, as I crested the top of the hill where the vista explodes into a thrilling see forever panorama, the idea hit me, and I do mean hit. I felt as if I had been socked with a cosmic 2x4. The idea was to form an educational publishing company using the very new and highly innovative audio tape cassette. It was 1965. Most of the world had never heard of a tape cassette, and I didn't have a clue how to form a company or make things start to happen. No matter. Every day coming over the hill, I'd recite, "Okay, higher power, you just keep giving me the seeds, and I'll find ways to plant them." And sure enough, every day without fail, going back over the hill to work, ideas would be going off in my head like roasting popcorn. I was envisioning magazines on tape, audio tape tours of national parks, sales training programs, and programs for school kids. For as long as I took that drive, ideas seemed to envelop me, because as long as I took that drive, I was in a feel-good place. My valve was wide open, and inspiration was easy to access.
Hmm.
The spiral had begun. The more the ideas poured in, the more excited I'd get. The more excited I'd get, the more the ideas poured in. I was buzzing without even knowing it. People who knew about audio tape cassettes and forming companies started appearing out of nowhere. Financial people, legal people, technical people, marketing people, all poking their heads up out of the blue. It was incredible. I finally left the aerospace company to form Listener Corporation, and we became one of the pioneers in dispensing information via the innovative new audio tape cassette. But pretty soon the excitement wore off. The fear of making it on my own took over, and my flow of inspiration dried up like a desert after a flash flood. The long, slow downward spiral had begun, even in the midst of our growing renown. We were the first company to put auto tours on tape for national parks, and they bombed. We were the first company to put an original monthly business magazine on tape. That took a year before it fizzled. We were the first to have business-related materials on headsets in transcontinental flights, and that bombed. We were one of the first to offer high-powered sales motivational trainers in package form to various industries. That bombed. The formula was simple. Fear within me that these things wouldn't work equaled they didn't. We finally found our niche with a much less public and far less fearful program. In-service training packages for elementary teachers, as well as audiovisual educational materials for elementary education. We became well-known, highly respected, loaded with happy sales reps and delighted customers. And I could barely make my mortgage payments. I'd bang, I'd whack, I'd pound, I'd hammer, and I'd push any way that came to mind. I was hi-ho silvering all over the place. Yet the harder I'd try to attack a problem, the slower would be our progress. Our new programs were receiving electrifying raves coast to coast, and with good reason. They were extraordinarily good, utilizing the finest educational minds of the day and the most innovative approaches to learning. But rave reviews notwithstanding, not one of our programs ever soared into that heady land of really big profits. All I could think was, what else can I do to make this thing happen? The harder I worked, the more fearful I became. And of course, the greater my fear, the more resistant I was to the energy of well-being, the more I was magnetizing my fears of less than smashing sales. Intuitive guidance had gone out the window. There was not the tiniest crack for my expanded self to jump in with those fantastic nonstop tips I had once received. I shouted constantly at this so-called higher power, telling it where it could get off, and vibrating so far out of alignment with it that I might as well have been non-existent. I seemed to be right in the middle of that old saw. The worse it gets, the worse it gets. Brother, was that ever true? This went on for 13 years until, exhausted and totally disconnected from anything remotely resembling my source of well-being, I sold the company and tried to run away to an isolated hideout up the coast by the sea. Instead, I ran smack dab into the lowest, most painfully disconnected years of my life. From that dark place came the fervent knowing of what I surely did not want any longer. And soon there blossomed the years that were to become the most fantastically beautiful of my life as I began to discover my expanded self. The only reason I'm recounting this from great to grim story is because it's a classic demonstration of the hugely different outcomes that occur between inspired action and fear-based action. With the former, we sail off into happy land with apparently very little effort, as I did when getting the company started. With the latter, we can push and shove and strive and hustle until the cows come home, only to end up going either nowhere or down.
Okay, let's change. I hate that we have to leave it here, but that's where we're at right now. Let me just go ahead and switch back. Yeah, this is powerful. Also, really interesting, in this sense, because she's showing you just in a matter of a couple of months how quickly we could change, right? She's full of inspiration. She's loving every moment. Inspiration is just coming to her daily, daily, daily. That's all she's focusing on. But then all of a sudden she shifts. And what happens? Everything starts to fall apart because she's now focusing on what's not working. Remember what I was talking about earlier, before, is that what you focus on expands, good or bad. It doesn't matter. It's just what you focus on expands. So this is to remind you guys to get out there and only focus on what is working. That's it. That's what I keep telling myself every day. And I'm getting better at it because I'm being more aware of it. But this is the key. This is really where it's at. And we're going to dive deep into specific techniques tomorrow on how to go about doing this. So come back again tomorrow. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell and leave a comment down below if you guys have been experiencing this and what you guys are going to do now moving forward. And until next time, you guys make it a great day. Take care.